craft. Today we're going to be making our very own stick Mountie. This one takes a couple of materials, so if you don't have popsicle sticks like we're going to be using today, you're going to be using a big popsicle stick and a small one right there. You can use a straw or anything that's more rigid that will keep your Mountie upright. Also, you'll need some glue, a glue stick or liquid glue. A pencil to trace out some of the items like a head and a Stetson, and we'll be using some colors, so color pencils, Sharpies, markers, crayons, and a little bit of paper with scissors to be able to cut it out. So first you're going to start off with your big popsicle stick right here, and we're going to have to draw the top half and the bottom half, and in the middle we're going to make a belt. So you kind of go right in the middle. You can draw a black belt, part of the uniform. You can make it as big or as small as you want. Try to do it about halfway so that it's even, unless you want to make a really tall Mountie with tall legs or a really long torso. It's up to you. It's your Mountie. And then we can start from the top. So you'll start with the red, which is the surge. The traditional red uniform you see at ceremonies on Canada Day. And we'll just do the outlines so that it's easier to color in. Now if you get some color on the table, usually that's okay, especially if you're using color pencils. They tend not to mark all surfaces from what I remember at school. And markers are usually pretty easy to get rid of. Now Sharpies here, they're the problem. Sometimes they're very difficult to get out of clothing and the table, so I would not recommend using a Sharpie. But sometimes that's all you can use. We're just trying to use materials that you have access to so that everyone can participate. All right, there we go. So the thing too with Sharpie is you have to let it dry a little bit. Else you'll get it on your hands, which I have already done. Now for the pants, we're going to draw them. They're going to be dark blue, or as dark blue as we can get them here, but they also have a yellow stripe. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a yellow stripe down both sides, right till almost the popsicle stick curves. So that we have a yellow stripe, and then we're going to try not to get the blue mixed up. You can probably tell I tried on the other one to just put yellow over it, and it didn't quite work. It just looked like a darker blue since yellow blends in very well. So we're going to go very carefully along the edges, try not to get in. There we go. Do the bottom here. You can see too the Sharpie, it just goes into the wood of the popsicle stick very easily, some of the colors, depending on how new your Sharpie is. If you get bored, you can look into the science of why that happens. Do a fun experiment at home. Because just because you're not in school or not working doesn't mean you can't still learn. Because once you do that, then just everything gets boring. Alright, so we're almost done with the blue, and our yellow has stayed yellow, which is great. Alright. Excellent. So, kind of have our base Now the next step is going to be giving our Mountie feet or boots. So we're going to use a smaller popsicle stick, and we're going to cut kind of the edges. Hopefully it doesn't go flying like that. You know what? I'll do them even, so we don't have one really long foot and one really tall, small one. All right, there. So what we can do is we're going to give our Mountie some brown boots, part of the uniform, the high browns. Now ours won't be as shiny as Mounties make theirs, because that takes up to 25 hours of shining the boot. You could probably do that in isolation. You really want to just keep shining your boots past the time. But for our craft, us coloring them is going to mimic them being really shiny. All right, so you'll notice how we left kind of the yellow line right down to where the popsicle stick starts to curve, because that's where we're going to put our brown boots. So shake your glue. Don't put too much. Just, you want to put enough that they're going to stick, but not so much that when you press down, it's just going to splat everywhere. All right, you can angle them if you want, or put them straight. All right, we'll let them set like that. So the next step is we're going to draw a Stetson and a head. So the head's going to be pretty simple. You can draw a big head, small head. So we'll try and do a bigger head so that it conforms to the hat. As you can see on our example, we need the head a little small, and the hat is really big. Now the hat is really big because it's good for keeping the rain out of faces. All right, so we'll use my almost round head. It's a little not so round, but that's okay. Round it a little bit better. That's okay. All right, we will give him some eyes. Give him a little nose, and of course a nice big smile. And we will place it kind of right there. Now place it a little bit down so you have room to put the Stetson. And we'll do this. Put a little bit of glue. Kind of move it around so that it gets, there we go, and we'll let it set. Now the Stetson might be a little hard. I did have to trace it out from another craft. So if you want to just kind of pause the video and trace it out right now, go right ahead. I'll leave it there for a couple of seconds. And it's kind of like you're drawing a house. So the two sides and then the two roof diagonal lines, and then you make kind of a C on both ends, and then just a straight line to connect it. So we'll cut it out right there. If you can't quite get it, that's okay. Like I said, I had to trace it out because I just couldn't quite get it. I do not have the artistic skills of some. Maybe we'll get someone on here next time to teach us how to draw a Stetson. So you can put some glue on the top, or if you want to put a little bit on the head, since the hat will be on there. And I always like to put the other side, so if you're tracing, you don't see the you don't see the pencil marks. Not too bad. Our head size to hat ratio is better than my initial one. Now while we're letting that dry, so we won't quite draw that in, we can make our hands. So use the same popsicle stick and you can make your hands again, long, short, whatever you desire. I tend to try and make them even as possible. So we'll just kind of do that. All right, now what you can do is take your brown marker and draw a little bit of brown at the end there. That's going to represent the gloves. Kind of close it off. Because when they're dressed up in their red serge, they do have brown gloves. Then we'll take our red again and we shall draw it in, kind of meet at the brown, and then do the edges, color it in. Try not to get marker on the table. All right, and we'll do the other side. So we can kind of make a line where the brown will meet the red. You don't go over and they don't blend, because sometimes that can ruin crayons. Not so much pencil crayons, but markers, Crayola markers. Sometimes it makes them different colors and they're never quite the same. All right, so now that is that, we're actually going to glue them behind our popsicle stick. So what you want to do is at the end of the red, just put a little bit of glue so that it can stick like that. And we'll do this. All right, so a little bit of glue on that one more. You can put them kind of roughly where you think you're. I definitely put a little bit too much glue on that side. You can put your arms up, down, whatever you like. Now, some finishing touches. We can put some buttons, since the uniform has, so we'll put, oh, that's brown. Oh no. Well, I guess we'll put brown. If you have a gold will work well. But I don't have gold right now. So we'll put brown buttons. Pretend they're gold. Can't really see it on the belt buckle, but that's okay. And if we want to, this is not the right brown, it's more of a tan color for the hat, but you can color in the hat to be brown. It's probably easier if you do it before you glue the hat on, so that way you don't get it on anything else. But we'll just, we've committed now. So we can go around the edges as best as possible. Don't do it as fast or as I am. I'm just trying to do it for time's sake. All the great craft people do it really fast, but they do it a lot better than I do. So I am no connoisseur of the crafts or Martha Stewart or all the greats. Neil from Art Attack, if you remember Art Attack. All right, and there is our Mountie. We'll let him dry and then he will get